What's a story worth?
My name is Terri Hudson, and I am very happy to be sitting here with Thomas Matthews, the writer and director of Ghostwritten.
Free at last. Another year or two like this, he might have started rethinking his goals.
I used to work at the Nantucket Film Festival growing up, and it's an island off the coast of Massachusetts. And in the off season, it gets very, very, very quiet. It gets really spooky. It's kind of a beach community in the summer, and in the winter, it kind of empties out, and it gets dark very, very early, and it gets very isolated, and your imagination just kind of runs wild. What we originally, with the film, wanted to do was kind of a modern, goofy take on Faust as pertains to heteromasculine narcissism. And we kind of took it from there. There was a humongous history of ghost folklore on the island, and a lot of that is connected with economic collapse. It was a whaling community in the 1830s, and that went out of style around the mid-19th century. And as a result, the town kind of got stuck in time. It didn't transition into the Industrial Revolution. As a result, it's kind of a time lock, and that became kind of its allure in the 1900s. Now it's a kind of a symbol of economic disparity, that island.
Someone needed him to make things right.
I have to say, from watching the trailer, I was immediately in love with the visuals. How did you work with the cinematographer to create the film's visual style?
Well, we talked about the different worlds inside the movie, and the first way that we started approaching that was zooms versus prime lenses. So in the world of fantasy, we were using primes and dollies. And in the world of reality, we're using zooms to kind of give it more of a voyeuristic feel, like a 70s kind of a slow push in. From there, we got even further because we wanted to create a really visceral contrast, no pun intended, between the world of reality and the world of fantasy and the world of the inanimate.
What were some of the bigger challenges that you faced during production?
Wind was challenging. We would have to kind of recreate the moon, and to do that we would need to put up high sticks, and the wind would kept on knocking them over. Cold was hard. It gets very windy, and it's very it's kind of like on a the moors, or it's an open field, so the wind cuts right through you when it's 20 degrees. And so that was hard because we as much as you bundle up, the actors had to be in costume, so that was tough. And when Jay's wearing all this spandex stuff, it wasn't really that effective.
Guy Lowry?
We knew that we wanted to have kind of a no longer young guy, intellectual, in this role, who's kind of so self-absorbed that he doesn't really see what's actually happening. My wife, actually, it was her idea for Jay. We sent him a link for our last movie, Lost Holiday, and he liked it, and he wanted to come on board.
How long are you in town for?
This is the broad.
Nice, right?
Do another BOE crossfitting later.
Amber Jones.
The Sheriff's Department is asking anyone with any information about her whereabouts.
We sent him a script, which was kind of like the rough idea of what the setting, what the situations are going to be like, but that ended up being absolutely nothing like what we actually shot.
Terrifying. Starring in someone else's film is terrifying, but also incredibly exciting. And I've always been actually shooting all of our films, and people are always like, why aren't you ever in it? Everyone you know is in your films, but it's literally because I'm looking through the lens. But I'm excited about the opportunity, and it feels very natural, and it feels positive.
And then Maria is a huge, Maria Dizzia, she's a huge theater actor in New York.
There are red splotches up one side of your entire body. A strange rash here. The feeling of burning is that you'll get no relief, and your mouth is dry, and you lick your lips, and you find your face is making an ugly expression, so you cover your face with your hands. And sometimes a great outpouring of liquid and the sheets are wet.
And she's also done a lot of cool indie films, and we really, really liked her. We asked her a bunch of times if she would do it. She kept on saying, I'm busy, I can't do it. And then eventually she gave in and said, sure.
A Widow's Walk. Do you see these railings up here?
Yeah.
A Widow's Walk was a deck above every household. where captains and sailors' wives would wait till their husband's expected return. They would have to set sail to the other side of the world. And so a person wouldn't know when to stop pacing a pair. And then hundreds of years later, vacationers swear that they wake to the sound of footsteps overhead, pacing back and forth, just waiting.
And then Tom Ryan is also an awesome theater actor. He plays the older novelist.
Hey, lady killer!
I've seen him in a ton of Shakespeare in New York. I saw him do a Measure for Measure that was really, really good.
One of the interesting things about having power, I think, for the first time, if you feel like you've been owed it and it's been denied you for a lifetime, and suddenly somebody says, here, just take it. I trust you. Do what you feel you're compelled to do. I think it can be a very heady experience.
And he's also done a lot of cool indie films with director Hal Hartley, who did movies like Henry Fool and Book of Life. And it was so much fun being able to cast out of New York. And we got a deal with an airline called Cape Air, those little twin propeller things. And they offered to show their airplanes in the movie, but also to fly our actors back and forth. They were incredibly generous. And so as a result, out of JFK, these little twin propellers would fly out for like an hour and scare the bejesus out of the actors. It was cool.
Oh, that's fantastic.
It was a really fun kind of retreat for all these folks. And it was the island was is very quiet, and there's all these year-round businesses that were into like being in the movie too, like the library. That's the Nantucket Athenaeum. It's been there since forever, and it's kind of an institution on the island, and they love the idea of making a movie in the winter. It was fun. It was hard. It was cold, but it was fun. One of my favorite parts of the movie. It's not a verbal thing. When Jay is alone in the bathroom, it's kind of coming in and out, and it's a little bit sexual. On the day we came to the bar, and he said, "I got this idea. I think I need to go jerk off in the bathroom." And I came right out of right field. I said, excuse me? And it didn't make any sense to me. Then we shot it, and I started kind of intercutting it, and it became my favorite part of the movie because it makes so much visceral sense, even though it's like so bananas.
Do you have any sense of why audiences and artists are drawn to horror stories?
I think it makes people feel alive. Something happens under your skin, getting slapped releases endorphins. I think it's better than drugs.
I hear that you're researching something pretty specific today.
I'm just curious about ghost folklore. I understand it's popular, and I was wondering why.
What's a story worth?
It's just like a last chance for me.
One story.
It's room and board for free for 2 months. And no strings, and just me finishing this book.
Stories make sense of existence.
3 kinds of paranormal events. I see how it can be a choice, to follow something, to believe it.
So how valuable can a story be?
Of course, I'm going to shoot the first writer I see around.
Or should we be asking what that story can
It can
bring?
be a source of great inspiration.
Respect,
At a sizable cost.
esteem,
It just seemed like it needed me.
power. How valuable can a story be as an alternative to truth?
What?
He did it.
What? Who was killed?
You'd give anything to believe it, wouldn't you?
What?
That there's more.
You coming? Who is she? Tell me, who is she?
The woman who was killed.
But what about just one story?
Is this real? Is this real?
How about this one? One warm autumn day, a hungry young writer was invited to leave the distractions and seductions of the city. Just a story.